So last night at about 9 o'clock, I decided to go out to the garage and check on the panels here. And it's a good thing I did, because I probably would have had ruined fiberglass if I'd left them out there overnight. I didn't realize that it was supposed to get down into the teens overnight. And at 9 o'clock, which was a good 6 hours after I had started fiberglassing, or had finished fiberglassing, I should say, and the fiberglass was, or the resin had not even begun to cure. So I quickly brought everything inside, brought it down to the basement, and got a nice solid cure on it overnight. So a little bit of a, not crisis averted, but a mistake, which would have created a lot of extra time to rip this fiberglass off and start over. So these are ready to take back upstairs and get the excess cut off, and then I'll work on installing these today. Okay, so I'm taking off the wax paper. I got one more side frame to do. This one's already done, and I used way too much resin on these pieces. I mean, it's covered fine, and I actually used 2 pieces of fiberglass here, and I've got a nice seam, nice smooth seam here. But the edges overflowed, and they're so thick that I was really unable to cut right up to the edge of the wood. So that means more work. I'm gonna have to go back and grind off or sand off all of this excess resin, because that's solid. I mean, it's everywhere. All the edges have it, and it's really thick. So I don't even know if I can sand it. I might have to get the cutoff wheel out. This piece is the same way. So when I took this downstairs last night, I started squeegeeing out some of the excess resin, and I kind of figured this was going to be the case. I didn't want to squeeze it out too far, because then it would get on the concrete for the on the basement floor. I don't want that, so I kind of had to leave it sit right up at the edge of each piece, which means I got more work to do. I probably will just set these aside for now, though. I was wrong that I actually started installing the side pieces next. After I get done fiberglassing both sides and the front piece, I'm gonna wait on making the cabin quarter panels, because those are custom fit. I don't want to cut them without having the sides already installed and then get the front installed. So I'm afraid they're not going to fit. So I'm going to skip making the cabin quarter panels right now. But I am going to make the roof beams and the cabin side support today. And then after that, looks like I do the rub rail on the gunnel, and then I start doing modifications on the trolling motor. So all these cabin pieces are going to just get set aside for now, and I'm going to wait for a little bit warmer day to go outside and cut off the excess using the grinding wheel, because it's really cold. It's like 17 degrees out today, and it's snowing right now too. So I'd rather just stay inside. So I will work on cutting out the roof beams, probably in the garage, if I have enough plywood left, that is. So hopefully I'll be able to keep working today, but I'm kind of irritated at myself for using so much resin, because I wasn't able to get a smooth cutout of the fiberglass like I did on the other side. So if you're gonna do this, be on the skimpy side with your resin. Don't go overboard, because it's more work. Thought I would show how I get the radius for the roof beams set up. This is a very unsophisticated method, but what I did was I drew a line here. That's 46 inches, because the roof beams have a center line of 23 inches, which is right there from that edge. Take that straight line, come off the bottom of the board with a 36-inch ruler to a seam in my concrete. The board is square on both sides to this seam. Then I took and extended this center line using a tape measure down here. And the bottom of the roof beam has a 84-inch radius. So that mark right there was 84 inches from the bottom edge of the roof beam right there. 84 inches here. That's the start of the radius. And then I just used the tape measure to go across, staying on the center line, marking 84 inches all the way across. Top radius is 68 inches, so the same thing. My mark at 68 inches right there. And I actually have this still set up from marking this last one, 68 inches there. So it's 68 from that mark on the edge, 68, 68, 68. That gives the top arc a 68-inch radius and the bottom arc an 84-inch radius. Now I'll just connect the dots, and I'm gonna cut out one and then use that one to trace the next three, because there's 3 pieces required. Not sophisticated, but fairly simple to figure out. And here's the radius drawn out with the lines connected. They are straight lines, but I will use the jigsaw to kind of just make the curve as I go across. So I'll get this piece cut out, and then I'll sand it, and then use this first piece to go make the next 2 pieces. Okay, here we go. Cutting out the first piece. Now this is 1/2-inch plywood, and I got a question from a viewer the other day asking which blade I use. So normally for 1/4-inch plywood I use a finishing blade or a metal blade. This is actually a fine cut finishing blade from Skill, and I've actually never used it on a 1/2-inch plywood before. But it seems to be working really well, and I'm not getting any chipping going on. So nice blade. It's a finish cut blade. Works great for 1/4-inch, and seems to be working really well for 1/2-inch so far too. So. Sand it and then cut out the next 2. I got the first one sanded. It's got a curve to it. You can see that. Woo. But that's all right. We'll just, when we put it in, we'll just put a little bend back in it, fasten it in place. Actually, the curve probably doesn't make any difference whatsoever. This is nice and smooth, and I'm going to use this piece to mark the next 2. And get those cut out. So I'm using the existing center line that's on this piece to match up with the center line that's still on the board. And I'm just going to put the center line right at the bottom of the previous cutout, because the top radius is different than the bottom radius, so they don't perfectly match up. So I'm just going to cut out a little bit of material from the bottom here on both sides, and then make the top arc, and then start over and do it one more time. Make sure it's nice and flush on both ends. I'm actually going to clamp it to make sure I get the lines correct. Kind of sad to hear the Cranberries now, since Dolores died earlier this year. Love the Cranberries, always loved their music. And I was just in Ireland a couple months ago, and it's weird. It's kind of like the city of Dublin really took it to heart. People are very sad about it. Okay, number 2 is cut out. Alright, there's number 2. We'll go back to number 1 piece, since it's the master. Mark it again for the last of the 3 pieces to be cut out. Oh my God, I love this song. This is The Cardigans, Eraser and Wine. Excellent song. All right, let's cut out number 3 for the roof beam. Alright, well this one's going to require a little bit of finishing. I messed up a little bit of the, the cut there. You can actually see it right there. It curves back up a little bit. So that's going to get sanded down. Three pieces. All identically cut. Sweet. On to the side braces. Okay, so now I'm cutting out the side supports. I've got it marked on the board here. Gonna cut out a 1/2 inch strip right here. Got a 2-inch radius right there. And then it's gonna run all the way up 47 inches, and then I'll cut out this area right here. That's gonna all go away. This line right here is not exact, but it's higher than the gunnel right now. So I'll get it cut out and then I'll fit it to the gunnel and then cut it down a little bit farther. Once this is cut out, I will flip it over and just trace it on the other side. Less measuring, less drawing, much easier. So there's the first side support. Cabin side support cut. 1/2 inch cut out at the bottom for the doubler that's on the floor. 2-inch radius to meet up with the seat. That's the part that gets cut, will get cut later with the height of the gunnel. It's cut at the appropriate angle. So what I'm gonna do now is take this piece, turn it upside down, and we'll make a mirrored piece. Lay it on the table just like that. I'll just trace it and make the exact same piece for the starboard side. This will be the port side. I did not video the first one, obviously. You haven't seen it, but I will video this one. I just didn't feel the need to video both of these being cut out. So I'll set up the camera and video the second one. All right, well this won't be super interesting because you can't really see at a decent angle, but I'll cut out the second piece. You know, I've run a jigsaw basically my whole life. And just when you think that you're like really good at running a straight line with a jigsaw, it gets all wavy on you. I mean, this isn't a big deal, but man, these are really wavy. You can probably even see that one right there. So, more sanding, yay. Here are the cabin side supports. Just sitting in place. I notched each board for the conduit on either side. The port side did require a little bit of a custom fit down there, but I mean that's kind of the nature of building things from plans. Things do require a little bit of customization along the way, so those will get fiberglassed in place later on. All right, I'm gonna do one more quick segment here. It's cold outside, 17, 19 degrees. Obviously there's snow on the ground and I don't want to be out here very long. So the bottom of the roof supports require a quarter inch radius. So got the router set up. I'm going to cut the radius on each 3 of those, and I think I'll call this segment done. 3 pieces with a 1/4 inch radius. Sand those nice and flush, and we are good. Okay, so I got the bottom of the roof supports routed. I have a nice 1/4 inch radius on them. I've sanded them down, so those are more or less ready to be installed. And that'll be it for this segment of the video update. Next time will be the rub rail, which is going to go right down here. There's a mark right there. Every foot or so, there's going to be a rub rail that mounts on the side of the tugboat. You can see the mark right there, there, and all the way back. So I got to figure out, well, first of all, what material that rub rail is made out of, because I don't think I have it. So I need to go buy it, and there'll be a rail that runs front to back on both sides. So until next time, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Hit that subscribe button and send me some comments if you like. Like what you see, don't like what you see. Let me know if there's something I can change, or you know, just let me know if you enjoyed it. Always like hearing from people who have a similar interest that I do in building things, specifically boats. Yeah, subscribe. Come back and watch more. See you next time.